All right, what up, YouTube? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Marley G, back at y'all another episode of Run It With You. And today we got to run it about black fatigue, man. Is black fatigue a real thing? It took me a while to get around to talk about this topic. I was just, every time I was getting around to talk about it, I always just, was in a mood to cover something else. But I think it's time to talk about it, man. If you don't know what black fatigue is, it's basically uh, a thing that was trending across social media a couple of weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and it was a lot of white people just having fatigue with a lot of black people when it comes to our culture, when it comes to a lot of things that fill into the stereotype of black people when it comes to a certain section of black people. Um, and even some black people were chiming in saying they were tired of black fatigue. And this was all around the same time. It was probably more than a couple of weeks ago. This was around the same time as when Carnival Cruise was having, you know, their little new policy of banning certain things. You can't wear this, you can't wear that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it was all seeming like it was aimed at, you know, the black community, as far as things that we would participate in, as far as things that we will wear, as far as things that we would listen to. Like a lot of different things within the culture was starting to get banned by Carnival Cruise. And if you don't know, like I know, Carnival Cruise is a real ghetto cruise ship, and it's ghetto because it's affordable. It's probably like the cheapest cruise you could find out there. Like a lot of the other cruises, they be kind of bougie, or they be kind of super family friendly, or it'd be like for old folks, kind of expensive. But Carnival Cruise is kind of, affordable. And when it comes to affordable, you're gonna attract a certain type of crowd, and that certain type of crowd. And it's different subsections, of black people. They got your boozy black people. They got your average black people, like they was uh in a middle class neighborhood, not too suburban, not too hood, but just a middle class neighborhood. They know how to control their emotions and stuff. They know how to logically get through problems and problem solve. And then they got your ghetto black people. See, ghetto black people, the difference between the average, middle class people and the uppity bougie people is they don't want problem solve. They don't want to, logically get through things. If they have a problem, or they gonna cut up, and they gonna be proud to cut up. They gonna be loud. They gonna be uh they probably gotta break something. They probably gotta throw something. Like they gonna make a scene, and they gonna get on the phone and talk about how such and such had them fucked up. And they gonna be proud of it. It ain't gonna be no shame. It's almost like a badge of honor. And when we do this, or when they do this, a lot of the kids see it, and kids mimic what they see and what they hear. So they get to thinking that's normal behavior. So it's not really too much of a black thing. It's a culture thing, which with within a certain subdivision of black people. You know, no different than uppity bougie white people, middle class white people, and trailer trash white people. Trailer trash white people might act a certain way when they don't get their way. Trailer trash white people might resort to certain violence if they can't handle their emotions. And emotions is high, they're not getting their way. Any type of inconvenience, probably loud up in certain establishment. Every 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 race has different subsections of their race. Different classes of their race. Every race, from whites to blacks to Chinese. The problem is it's a large number of this subdivision within the black community compared to other communities. That's the problem. And the problem is uh, a lot of people have interactions with these people, and they just look at black people as a whole when they run into these situations with these people. And it's not monolith. It's not, you know, but at the same time, if you have an experience with somebody and then you have another experience and it's the same thing and it's probably negative, that's going to be your reality. To a lot of people, their perception is their reality. You know, if you go on a trip to Vegas, you had a horrible time in Vegas. And then you say, you know what, it was part of that time. Then you go on a trip to Vegas again months later. You had another horrible time. Your perception is vague. Your perception is your reality. And your reality gonna be you don't like Vegas. You know, you had a bad time there. You ain't like the food, you ain't like the culture, you ain't like the people. The weather was bad, like it's just not your cup of tea. And a lot of people they do this with this subsection of black folks, and they go to thinking that's goes for everyone. Chris Rock had a stand up on I think Bigger and Black or something like that. He had a stand up a long time ago. He said, "Who's more racist, white people or black people?" A lot of people were saying white people. A lot of people were saying black people. They were saying, "You know who more racist? Black people." Because everything white people don't like about black people really don't like about black people. And he was basically talking about, the middle class black people who conduct themselves a certain way and bullshit black people who conduct themselves a certain way. And shoot, I think that is true for a lot of people. Like it's certain black people that if they see another black person and that black person acting up and there's white people around, they're gonna feel so ashamed just because they're acting like that in front of white people, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's carrying himself like this," and just adding to the stereotype. Versus if that white person wasn't around, they'll still be upset, but it's even more upset because you carry yourself like that in front say a white person. And they got some people feel like, man, you ain't got to switch on how you act. You ain't got to code switch in front of these people. Now, in real life, people code switch. You got to have a certain way you conduct yourself in an interview. You got to speak a certain way. You got to, you got to know how to be very fluid when it comes to talking to certain people, and you got to act a certain way. But certain people feel like, man, you don't need to change the way you act in public just to appease these people, because that's like, oh, master coming around, let me go ahead on and tighten up. But I would say a lot of the stuff is not so much as the race, it's the culture. But at the same time, that kind of go hand in hand, because if this is the culture and a lot of people is within this culture of this skin color, you're gonna associate with that. You're gonna correlate with that. I mean, it is what it is. But I do think our culture, we take pride in the wrong things. We champion the wrong things. We adhere to the wrong things. A lot of our achievements shouldn't be, our achievements that we think is achievements. It's just a lot of things that I feel like holding us back that we just got to get out of. Like we just got to get out of. And it's a mindset that is going to be passed on from generation to generations until, I mean, everything must come to an end, right? But I don't see it ending no time soon. When it comes to the culture, a lot of things that we see as a positive really is a negative. A lot of things that we view is normal, we shouldn't view it as normal. We should shame a lot of the stuff that we praise. We should shame a lot of the stuff that we just do on a daily basis and just think, oh, I mean, it is what it is. This is just life, and we know those things, but hopefully one day we could get up out of this. Hopefully one day we could change and it's gonna always be different classes. It's gonna always be the bougie, the middle, and then the bottom tier who unfortunately is in a certain environment. Unfortunately, has less resources. Unfortunately, uh, poverty stricken. So it's gonna be, statistically speaking, a lot of bad apples come out that area. And and that's another thing. Like, we praise people for coming out that area and being from that area, but if you from the middle or the bougie class, you automatically get made fun of just because you fed with a silver spoon. And see, that be the mentality right there. Where I be saying we praise the wrong stuff. It's a lot of stuff I could really break down, but I'm pretty sure y'all kind of catch my drift. But yeah, man, I think it's more so of a culture thing, especially American culture, because it's black people in different continents. It's black people, in different countries overseas that I do think they are influenced by American culture, but at the same time, it's a whole bunch of them who don't adhere to that stuff and don't, just get influenced by it, and they are way different type of people. In fact, they look down on the American blacks. They think they better than, which I could see why they would feel like that, but it's a lot of them still get influenced as well, even all the way overseas. But yeah, man, I just want to know what you guys think about the whole black fatigue thing. Like, they're just getting fatigued and tired of the niggatry. They getting tired of the nigga moments. They getting tired of, somebody getting the order wrong and they gotta cut up and just do the most. Somebody in this restaurant playing with me, somebody on this cruise ship playing with me. Now I gotta, throw tables, throw chairs. Like, me personally, anytime I was always mad, I'll take it up on that person. And even before I take it up on that person, I would try to talk things out, but I would never try to get out of character and just make a complete fool of myself, or just basically do the most, and be like, oh, I'm a show 'em. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always felt like you making things more worse than what it is, and on top of that, you making yourself look like an ass, Now, certain crash outs, it might be warranted, but for the most part, 95, 96% of crash outs could have been avoided, bro. Could have been avoided. Like, it ain't get that serious, or you could have just handled it a completely different way. And certain stuff don't even be crash outs. It just be regular everyday life basic stuff like that. People just doing the most, or just inconvenience, or just only caring about themselves, not worried about nobody else. It's just a lot of different situations. Now, like I say, it's like that in every race. I just think the problem is we got a lot of those bad apples in our community. Like, this community might have this many bad apples. That community might have this many bad apples, but our community got this many bad apples. And it's like that because the culture. You see it within the music. You see it within the movies, And they don't do nothing but make younger people want to get influenced by it even more, But I'm gonna go ahead on and get up out of here, man. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. If you like the videos, go ahead on and subscribe. Go ahead on and hit the like button, help out the algorithm. If you want me to react to any videos, go ahead on and send it to the email, nocapnofilter7@gmail.com. If you want me to speak on anything, go ahead on and let me know what you want me to speak on at nocapnofilter7@gmail.com. So if y'all want me to react to anything, y'all want me to speak on anything, feel free to hit up the email, nocapnofilter7 at gmail.com. And until next time, I'm out.